Alright, so we already know how good Prismatic Warlock buddy build is, but how about we enhance it with Finality's Auger, the brand new exotic linear fusion rifle from Sundered Doctrine, which can spawn in Ruin Scribe turrets, which is pretty cool. Now add in the crazy synergy that you can have as well with the artifact using both Void and Strand weapons, and this build is pretty nuts. Now before we get into the video, if you guys do enjoy the content, a like and sub would be greatly appreciated. Plus come hang out on my Twitch where we're live most of the days of the week. Thank you. So this build's focus is the same as the old buddy build, utilizing getaway artists with the aspects Bleak Watcher and Feed the Void, so we can spawn in both stasis and arc buddies at the same time, plus have insanely good grenade uptime thanks to Devour. But now, thanks to the Finality's Auger, we can actually spawn in a third buddy that shoots solar beams at enemies. It will auto-target enemies around it within a pretty good range, I'd say, but the cool part is that you can actually select a desired location or target for it to focus on shooting more powerful munitions at. So it's great if you need to focus on a specific boss enemy or even on just a large group of enemies, making it surprisingly solid option for a lot of activities in this game. Now the other weapons in this build are kind of what just makes it go crazy. We're going to be using Scatter Signal and a Void Primary. For this video specifically, I'm going to be using a Recluse with the Stabilizing Rounds and Repulsor Brace to take advantage of both the Strand and Void seasonal mods to spread Unravel, Threadlings, Volatile, and Weaken just everywhere. It's actually kind of insane how much damage you can get, especially if just a couple adds are grouped together. Now what you want to do is either apply Unravel from Scatter Signal or our melee of choice, which is going to be Arcane Needle. Then you can start just spraying with Recluse and causing chaos. Don't forget, you're also going to have 3 turrets up supporting you as well, causing even more chaos all around. Now, I'm also using Repulsor Brace on the SMG specifically so we can grant ourselves a nice little Void Overshield for some good damage resist and a little bump of 45 extra HP. The abilities used in this build are going to be Phoenix Dive for quick heals for you and allies, Arcane Needle to apply Unravel to enemies so we can spawn in Tangles, proc Devour, and cause some crazy stuff with Horde Shuttle, and of course Storm Grenade so we can utilize Getaway Artist, and our super of choice is going to be Song of Flame, thanks to it being just a great survivability and usefulness really in just every activity, but if you wanted to, Nova Bomb is also a solid option as well. Now the fragments used in this build are going to be fast to bounce, so when rapidly defeating targets with light damage, it'll grant us melee energy, and with darkness damage, we'll be granted grenade energy. And since this build does a lot of both, it'll be great for funning back both abilities pretty quickly. Next is going to be Fast of Courage, to buff the damage of our Arc Soul and Song of Flame against enemies affected by darkness debuffs, which we will have up pretty much all the time thanks to all the Unravel from our melee, and then also Scatter Signal, and then also the Slow and Freeze from our Bleak Watcher turret. Next is going to be Fast of Awakening, where defeating multiple enemies with light or darkness will spawn an elemental pickup matching that damage type, meaning we can spawn in Stasis Shards, Ionic Traces, Void Breaches, and even Fire Sprites with this build, enhancing our ability regen even more. Now the last two are going to be Fast of Dominance, so our Prismatic Grenades can apply Weaken to enemies, and then Fast of Protection for a 15% damage resist near enemies, and while in Transcendence, it will stack with the 20% damage resist you get in that for a 32% damage resist buff. For the armor mods, on Helmet we're using a Void Siphon and double heavy ammo finder so we can try to utilize our Ruin Scribe turret as much as possible. On the gloves, double impact induction for grenade energy on melee hits and a Void Reloader. On the boots, recuperation for health on orb pickup, innervation for grenade energy on orb pickup, and absolution for energy to all abilities on orb pickup. And lastly, for the class item, we're going to use Bomber for grenade energy when we use our class ability, Powerful Attraction to pull in orbs on class ability use, and then lastly, Special Ammo Finisher for a way to just get us a little extra special ammo. Lastly, for the artifact mods, we're going to be focused on really just enhancing our weapons of choice, so that means Volatile Marksman, where rapid precision hits and final blows with Void weapons grant us volatile rounds, Unraveling Orbs to grant our Strand weapons unraveling rounds on orb pickup, Aligned Harvest, where rapidly applying Volatile will cause your next source of Void weapon damage to do a Weaken burst, Horde Shuttle, damaging unraveled enemies with a weapon occasionally spawns in a Threadling, Void Flux, defeating weakened targets with a Void weapon applies Volatile to nearby enemies, and then lastly, Particle Reconstruction, so our Fusion and Linear will get a stacking damage buff against enemies that they damage. And yes, this actually does work with Ruin Scribe turret, which is actually pretty cool. Now, I know I made this build kind of on the purpose to use Finality's Auger with it, but you don't even need to rock this build. I mean, there's plenty of different weapons you could use in the heavy slot. This is more of just kind of an updated turret build with focuses on the seasonal artifact because it's pretty damn strong, man. The seasonal artifact on this build goes insanely hard, but hey, if you do have Finality's Auger, seriously try this out. It is so much fun, especially in activities like Onslaught, Nether, just any kind of ad clear sort of bossing activity. It's so much fun. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next one. Peace.